r/NoSleep, posted by Reddit user likeeyedid. I'm playing a game called Smile, but nobody taught me the rules. Part 6. I can't begin to describe what a roller coaster of emotions I went through in the last couple of days. Days that felt like an eternity. Together with my friends, I got sucked into a loop of a game named Smile. The game of madness, randomness, and pain. I had lost Haley. I had lost Killian. And Killian had lost his poor sister. Nothing went the way I had planned at all. As much as I tried to control the direction of the game, it was always a step ahead of me. I had officially lost control. And now, on top of it all, Lucas was gone as well. We had trusted each other with our lives on numerous occasions, and I never regretted it. I didn't regret it when I left the life I knew because it was clear to me that I had gained a new family. Lucas and I were like brothers. Brothers who went through hell that was the TV show of Satan. A show we starred in as kids that made children who watch it do unspeakable things. Without our knowledge, our faces were involved in murder, kidnapping, and suicides. And while we didn't know what we had gotten ourselves into when we were that young and just wanted to act, we had been plagued by guilt ever since the memories of that time came back to us. And so, we had sworn to do everything in our power to destroy anything that revolved around that show. But now, I wasn't so sure anymore that Lucas was really on the same side as me. And Haley, it seemed, had turned into a cold-blooded killer. Suddenly, my family was gone, and I was standing there on an empty carnival, which had turned eerily silent. It was just me and this woman. I didn't recognize her face at first. She had gotten older, just as I. To be honest, I never expected to see her again. "Janny?" I whispered, but then my eyes shifted back to the Ferris wheel, and I couldn't focus on her anymore. I started running while typing on my phone. "Alex, who the hell are you calling?" Janny shouted and jumped on me from the back. "A fucking ambulance. If it's not too late already." I pushed Janny away. "You did this. You killed an innocent boy for some shitty game. Why did you even come back? Did you side with them? Was this all planned out from the start?" "Aw, Alex, I knew you liked me." I heard someone laugh from the back. As I turned around, I saw Killian's body drenched in blood, but he got up from the wagon as if nothing had even happened. And then, I started realizing that he didn't even have any wounds. I moved closer and touched his chest. "This is paint." I couldn't control myself. My mouth turned into a big smile, followed by hysterical laughter. The situation was so insane, but the relief I felt was incredible. The relief quickly turned to anger, however. I grabbed Killian by the shirt and started shaking him. "You were never on our team, were you? You played with us." "I'm sorry, Alex. We had to. This was the only way to free my sister." Janie started typing something on her phone and walked over to us. "It's because of Lucas, Alex. Haven't you understood that yet? He's involved with Warley. He had helped them recruit the other players. His video ran all around. We believe that every kid who joined the game did so because they saw the video. That's even how I found out about it. He spoke to them on a level not everyone can understand. But the ones that can lose all their free will, they didn't care if they would have died. They all followed Lucas." "No," I whispered. "I was with him, all throughout the game. None of this is making sense. He cut up his own mouth, for fuck's sake." "Ask your own friend. She got started because of him." Janie pointed towards someone behind the Ferris wheel, who was walking up to us. She was wearing a mask, but I knew it was going to be Haley. Instead of saying anything, she just walked up to me and spread her arms around me. "I'm so sorry, Alex." Killian and Haley exchanged a look and she said, "It's taken care of. They left and are already on their way back to Martin." For a second, he smiled. Then his expression turned dark again. "Why are they not saying anything? The round is over." "Can anyone please just tell me what's going on?" I almost shouted. Haley sighed and sat down on the platform of the Ferris wheel. Then she told me the story. "Weeks ago, this game found its way to some people I knew in college. And they just called it Smile. It didn't take long before they were entirely obsessed with it. They wouldn't tell me about the specifics, but from what I could tell, it sounded insanely morbid. One day I saw my roommate cutting up the edges of her mouth. When I asked her what was going on and tried to call a doctor, she jumped me. She went insane and kept repeating that she has to play the game because Lay, the adventurer, told her so. That combination of words already gave me goosebumps, but I thought it had to be a coincidence. I was in contact with Lay all the time, and he never mentioned a game. When she finally showed me the video, I heard the oh-so-familiar tune. I knew that we were back in the mess of Warley, but this time, it seemed like Lay was on their side. After we changed our names, cut so many ties, and everything, it was all back." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because of the game. You know damn well that none of us could speak about it, or they would harm anyone we care about. But the first time I played, I was assigned to a team. My team," Janie chimed in. "And just so you know, I never wanted to get back into any of this. I would have been happy never seeing any one of Warley's Adventure Club again. But then my little cousin played the game. I couldn't let anything happen to her. Not after all the children that died back then. Well, and I couldn't let Killian do all this on his own." "Wait, so Jen and Killian are your cousins?" Killian grinned. "Yeah. Also, Killian isn't my real name either. I stole that from a movie." "And Haley, well, Helen, was helping you guys? All this time and you didn't care to tell me?" All three of them turned very serious. "Look, Alex, it's not like we were in complete control. The rules of the game were being decided as things were going. We had no idea what would happen. And frankly, after everything with Lucas, we couldn't know if you weren't involved as well." Killian and Janie had a mission from the start: to save little Jen from the game of Smile, to wake her up and get her back home. They had to be careful because it was clear that the game masters would do anything in their power to scramble up any plans they made. When Killian and Haley had to switch teams, it could have all gone south. Everyone wanted to win the game, to get the princess, but if any other player found her, they would have brought her back to the game masters to collect their reward. And so, they came up with a plan with as many twists and turns that neither the game masters nor the other players would know what was going on. They created a distraction. To Lucas and me, it looked like we were going to win. Killian would have gotten to Jen, meaning that our team would win the round and the entire game. But they couldn't have let that happen, not knowing that Lucas might be on the wrong side. Killian had been playing for two teams the entire time. He knew everything, but only shared breadcrumbs with me, with us. But now, things were finally starting to make sense. When Killian was near as possible to the princess, almost sure of the win, the jesters came to play. The jesters were all extras, here to confuse us and scare us. Game pieces that the masters found replaceable. Jen was shooting them down without a care in the world, because that's what she's been programmed to do. Nobody would have expected a jester to start shooting a gun. To the masters and us, it seemed like a different team was going to win. In reality, however, Haley had shot Killian with a paintball gun. While everyone was distracted, Killian's friend, who was disguised as a jester, brought Jen to a car and drove her off. Now, what wasn't clear to me yet was why they didn't go after Jen, but instead came for Lucas. Or had Lucas escaped knowing the game was over for him? So, what's happening now? We can't be so foolish to assume they're not going to currently listen to everything we're saying, I said after they had told me about everything. It doesn't matter. Our team already won, Haley responded. When you started playing the game, they offered you something, didn't they, Alex? They let you choose your reward. They offered all the children who were still under their spell, or brainwashed, would be freed from the game. And there it was, the abhorrent tune, except this time, we had been impatiently waiting for it. We were sure the game masters were listening to every word we were saying. It didn't really matter anymore at this point, but I knew that things weren't quite over for me yet, especially with Lucas being away all of a sudden. Killian and Janie had given up on him and would have rather seen him dead, but I wasn't at that point yet. I knew there had been something more to the fact why my friend betrayed us. What I came to find out was just so much worse than I could have ever imagined, however. I lost the game. Big time. Congratulations on the win, Team S. You must have the biggest smiles on your face right now. You took your well-deserved reward, though we can't promise that the princess will not rip out more hearts in the future. She's a first-class royal with a wonderful thirst for blood. The familiar voice was blasting from the speakers all throughout the carnival. Now, sweet Alex, our main adventurer, it is time to pay your debt as you lost, sweet child. Don't worry though, the boys of Worley's Adventure Club are already awaiting you. We can't wait for you to join. Please, follow our kind gestures. The rest of you may leave now. It has been a blast to play, and I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. It was finished off by the sound of a smile. There they are, Helen said and pointed to two jesters smiling at us. Please, be careful, you don't know what they might expect of you. I took a deep breath and followed the jesters through the carnival. Everything around us was silent again. The remains of lifeless players in jester costumes were lying in puddles of their own blood. Poor souls who were sucked into this because they had listened to Lay's video. It should have never come this far. I should have known this would happen if you play with monsters. The jesters stopped in front of the mirror cabinet. They opened the entrance and waved me inside. Everywhere I saw myself, distorted, small, tall, it didn't matter which mirror I looked into. I felt revolted by my own appearance. And then, a second face appeared in the darkness, and he looked worse than I'd ever seen him before. Lucas. Alex, he cried out. I fucked up. I really fucked up. Before I could walk over to him, the mirrors changed. They had screens built in, and were playing something. The same video of Lay was reflected in each mirror. He was dressed in green clothes that he always wore on that children's show. But this wasn't him as a child. It looked as if it was taken a few weeks ago. The melody played, and Lay looked straight into the camera. Hello, hello, adventurers. I want you to listen closely now. He smiled. I want to play a game with you. A game you will never want to finish. A game that will make each and every one of you smile from the bottom of your heart. Isn't that exciting? His face turned into a frown. I know you hate your life, I know deep down you would like to see the world paved in the color red, just as I. So why don't you join me, and we can have lots and lots of... The video broke off there, and the mirror went back to normal. You fucking bastard, I said under my breath. We wanted to put an end to this. We wanted to save them, I shouted. Alex, it's not how you think it is. We walked through the cabinet until we finally found each other. I didn't know if I wanted to punch him or apologize. It's true. I made the video for the producer. Well, no, that's not right. I made a video. He changed things like he did back then. The man behind Warley's Adventure Club reached out to me. I have no idea how he even found me, but he was extremely persistent, threatening everyone I know if I didn't listen to him or told anyone about this. He sighed and looked to the ground. Then, he made me a proposition. You know how all those children disappeared when we first aired our show? The children we wanted to save but couldn't find? He told me if he could take this one video of me, then they would be all free to go. And you believed him. He was very persuasive. That producer isn't normal, Alex. You should know that. He calls himself Mr. V and is a fucking eccentric cult leader or whatever, but look, Alex, he did let them go. All those kids and teenagers playing the game, they were former hostages. Did you see the corpses outside? You didn't save them. But I tried, he was shouting now. And don't act so fucking innocent, Alex. You helped them too. Or else, why did you make me cut open my own face? I swallowed and took a step back. What did he promise you, Alex? All throughout this mess, nobody had asked me what my intentions were to play the game, and I had no idea how to tell him. No need to be ashamed, Alex. You can tell him. A man with dark hair and shiny eyes entered the room without me even realizing it. I had never seen him before, but I recognized his voice. He called me after we had already started playing the game, when it still seemed normal and all we did was take a photo of us. He called when I was alone, and he made a proposition if I played the game and won. Next to him stood Warley, with an expression of deep fear. He wanted to save good old Warley. Isn't that adorable? If you remember Warley, he was the adult in the show we acted in. He had once betrayed us and threatened many lives. We had abandoned him and sent him to prison, hoping to be rid of him. We couldn't risk having him around, but Warley was a victim. Just like us, he was sucked into the show without knowing what he did. He had tricked us, but I knew that he wasn't really a bad person. We swore to forget about him, but when I heard his voice introducing us to the game, I knew they somehow found him. The game master promised me I could save him if I played the game, and did as asked. The man took out a phone and started playing a message. I know this is insane, but look, you have to do it. Trust me. You have to, or everyone else will suffer. We need to play the game. We need to smile. You trust me, right? I had no idea this is what they sent Lay before he cut his mouth. He told me to take the message, and I did, without knowing exactly what they would use it for. I wanted to step out at that point, when they told me to harm myself, but I thought if you told me I had to, there would be a good reason for it. I had no idea that the reason was to save fucking Warley. I'm sorry, I whispered. Lay stayed quiet for a moment, and then he added, Me too. My friend and I had wanted to help, to make things better, but instead, we only brought more suffering. I do have to admit, both of you are terrific actors. Not one of you spilled the guts. And don't worry, boys. I'm not a complete monster, the man said as if he had just read my mind. I am a man of honor, and I intend to keep my promise. Everyone who had been under our spell will be free after this game. However, Lay, I'm afraid you did lose, and so I will have to keep that video of you for future purposes. I'm sure you understand. As to you, Alex, I bet your friends will forgive you eventually. Warley here, however, never will. I mean, losers don't deserve a reward. Without batting an eye, he slid a razor-sharp knife into Warley's throat. I had no other chance but to look at dozens of mirrors showing the man I tried to save lose the life from his eyes as he collapsed to the ground. As much as I prayed, this time it wasn't fake blood. It took us a while to comprehend what had happened. I thought my friends and I would separate for good, but we didn't, and we never would. Not as long as we had a common enemy. Mr. V did keep his promise, and the children were freed. Young adults were brought back to families who never thought they would see their children again. It was a bittersweet end, though, I have to admit, that the bitter taste overruled. It wasn't easy, but I think after much explaining, we all understood that Lay's intentions were coming from a good place, but he had been naive and gullible, just as I. It would still take a long time until we all trusted each other again, especially as we gained 2 more members to our group. An old friend I never thought I'd see again, and someone I had grown real close to in those few days. The horrific roller coaster that was the Smile game was over. While the game ignited mistrust in all of us, we also understood that we were all sucked deep into all of this, not being able to distinguish right from wrong anymore. We had been victims and accomplices at once, but there was one thing that we all agreed upon. Warley might be dead, but the Adventure Club would never be able to escape from this, not as long as they know our faces. So, if you ever stumble upon a video inviting you onto an adventure, don't listen to us.